Hi, and welcome to the virtual showcase of our Growth Lab program, part of the Low Carbon Accelerator, right here in Queensland, Australia. The Low Carbon Accelerator is an initiative of the Queensland Government under the Department of Environment and Science and the Office of the Queensland Chief Entrepreneur, and delivered by us at Innovation Architects. My name is Phil, and I'm the Program Manager for the Low Carbon Accelerator. Let's dive straight in.
The Low Carbon Accelerator is a great opportunity to actually elevate the importance of these solutions to solving the climate problems that we have in Queensland.
Getting access to industry leaders to really sit down and spend some time looking at your business and then pointing you in the right direction has been fabulous.
The Low Carbon Accelerator really pitches to progress ideas, make those business connections, and help us all as startup founders to take us to the next level and scale.
It's also just really inspiring to learn other ways that people are thinking about to reduce carbon emissions in the current economy.
Being amongst other founders and hearing the most amazing startup stories. It's just fantastic. I'm absolutely loving it, and I will be a better founder for it.
The Low Carbon Accelerator supports innovative businesses, startups, and SMEs to work with our industries on solving some of the most important decarbonization challenges of our state. Today, we want to share with you the stories of 10 amazing companies that have been part of our program for the last 6 weeks. They are currently in stage 2 of our accelerator program called the Growth Lab. The Growth Lab's purpose is to build a business case and a strong value proposition to work with an industry partner on a proof of concept implementation of their solutions. We've launched the Low Carbon Accelerator podcast. It is a place where you can find tons of stories on incredible innovators solving for our most pressing climate-related issues. I hope you enjoyed the pitches, and if you would like to find out more, visit us at lowcarbonqld.com.
Hi everyone, my name is Frances Atkins and I'm the CEO and co-founder of givvable. Today is really a refresher on what givvable does. We'll cover the problem that we're solving, the goals of the platform. We'll run through some of our solutions so you can see what they look like, and we'll also discuss what we're hoping to achieve from a POC as part of the Low Carbon Accelerator. So firstly, what is givvable? We are a smart platform that tracks and maps the sustainability actions of suppliers to organizational targets. The problem that we're solving for organizations is that they simply won't meet their sustainability or net zero targets unless they can drive supplier action on sustainability. Now, the other side of that problem is that for suppliers, they simply don't know what action to take or what to do on sustainability. So our goal is really twofold. We're helping accelerate or helping organizations meet their sustainability targets faster. And we're also driving supplier action on sustainability by identifying exactly what actions they need to take to meet their customers' requirements. So for organizations and for our industry partners, we have a solution that will screen existing suppliers at large, and that is this solution here. It will automatically identify the actions and attributes that suppliers are taking, and then it will auto map and auto align those actions to the targets and impact objectives of organizations. The other side of the solution is really targeted at new suppliers that aren't currently in the ERP system of an organization, and so they need a way to quickly vet or check exactly what action the business is taking. And it's designed for procurement, sourcing, and sustainability managers. And they can go in and they can set their targets and they can set their goals. And as they're searching and looking up different suppliers, whether it be for a tender or onboarding process, they can see exactly whether or not the supplier is holds an attribute or is taking action that aligns to their targets. Now, for suppliers, we have a smart and simple and importantly free supplier portal. It's smart, so it's pre-populating a lot of business information. It's also pre-validating the credentials that the supplier holds. But importantly, it's a one-to-many solution. So the supplier gets the benefit of getting visibility of their actions and alignment to many customers, rather than having to answer different questionnaires for different customers, and that being a time-consuming and ineffective process. So I've included this slide to really highlight the innovation and novelty of our platform. It's been only relatively recently in the last couple of years that companies, indeed governments and countries, have been setting forward-looking 2030, 2040, 2050 targets on sustainability. And when you have these forward-looking targets, you need to have forward-looking indicators. So our approach is to identify action that is aligned to targets, whereas historic other measures have been very focused on rating risk, scoring risk, or quantifying risk on standardized objectives, and they're just not fit for purpose for this new market of needing to meet forward-looking targets. So what does a POC with Givvable look like? Well, we're super excited to deliver some key outcomes for our industry partners. They will leapfrog their visibility on the sustainability attributes of their suppliers. Not only that, they will get an automatic translation of what all those attributes mean from a sustainability, net zero, or ESG perspective. The other thing that they'll get is that this data is incredibly difficult to maintain and keep up to date, and the platform will automatically do that for them, so that when they're, whether it be for reporting or looking up new suppliers, they have confidence in the currency and the accuracy of the data. Importantly, it's now giving them a tool to actually grow pools of suppliers that are meeting forward-looking targets. So it's not just a static, snapshot at a point in time. This is going to help them achieve their objectives going forward. Now, over the next 6 months, we're looking to deliver a successful POC through this program. We want to grow our coverage of suppliers in Queensland, and we also want to use this opportunity as a live case study to demonstrate to government agencies and the private sector how they can engage our solution to help them achieve their objectives. So that is us. I've run out of time. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you. Bye.
My name is Mark. I'm co-founder of SNAPI. As Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, has clearly stated, the climate crisis is the defining issue of our time. Climate change impacts us all, and in recognition of this, governments around the world have set targets to preserve life as we know it. Targets such as the Paris Agreement, targets such as the Paris Agreement are great, but in order to reach them, we need significant change. So how do we do that? Well, the two fastest ways are for us to reduce our consumption and to switch to greener options. Unfortunately, though, the energy sector, which is not only our largest polluter, but also a conduit to every household and business, is dominated by analog infrastructure that cannot adequately provide consumption data we need to inform this change. Our consumption data is currently locked in this analog infrastructure, and we need more information because information changes behavior. With information, we can empower every individual touched by climate change to reduce their consumption. Energy companies can use this information to reward the green energy use, and governments can use the information to accurately calculate carbon credits to reward good behavior. So what about smart meters? Well, smart meters were actually mandated back in 2016 in Australia, yet over the last 6 years, only 24% of Australian households and businesses have them. It's so bad, in fact, that the AEMC has produced a report which deemed the smart meter program a failure, requiring significant reform. It's currently under review. They found that consumers were benefiting from planned pricing incentives sorry, they find that consumers weren't benefiting from the planned pricing incentives and that the rollout at its current rate would only be completed in 2040. That's a loss of opportunity over the next 18 years. So what's our solution? Let me show you. This is an analog meter that most of you, about 70% of you, will have in your homes. And this is a SNAPI digital meter reader. Digitized. Now, this old tech can do some pretty cool stuff. In less than 10 seconds, I've enabled remote meter reading with 99.9% accuracy. Energy companies can now provide you with real-time insights to your energy consumption. Utilities can introduce off-peak tariffs to encourage more households and businesses to change their consumption habits in line with our excess solar being injected into the grid. And governments can better implement carbon credit schemes. Given the scale of the decarbonisation challenge, we've intentionally built SNAPI solutions to enable utilities to digitize at scale. Devices can be installed in under 10 seconds with barely any training and without any requirement for licensed trades. SNAPI has delivered a meter reading as a service model, reducing the upfront cost for the utilities, and the ongoing cost is lower than it would currently cost for a manual meter reader to read your meter 4 times a year. But with SNAPI, we get 8 snapshots a day. Essentially, we provide all the benefits of a smart meter at a fraction of the cost and complexity. There are over 75 documented benefits to digitization. We're basically turning what was an analog billing device into a digital measurement tool for consumption data. We're addressing the gap between today's human meter readers and the installation of all these integrated smart meters of tomorrow. Massive change is required if we're going to reach our carbon credit targets, and only digitization at scale will enable change at the pace required to make a positive impact on climate change. We've completed various small trials to date, and we're now engaging with an industry partner through the Low Carbon Accelerator program. Thanks, Phil and team and governments. Our goal through the successful LCA project with an industry partner should result in a 5-year carbon emission reduction of about 12 million tonnes. And we hope this excites you as much as it does us. And if so, basically what we're looking for is more doors opened, and specifically those to our energy distributors and governments. So we welcome any assistance that can be provided. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. So I'm here to talk to you about our Seaweed biofilters solution, which is a nature-based solution to use seaweed to help protect the Great Barrier Reef and reduce livestock emissions in cattle. And I'll tell you how. But first of all, let me tell you a bit about our team. My name's Jo Kelly. I've been around the world this year talking about our Seaweed biofilters solution at the UN Oceans Conference and at the World Economic Forum's Oceans Conference and at Monaco Ocean Week. And we are seeing more and more people embracing the concept of nature-based solutions to be used as a catalyst for change, as well as a potential return on investment generator as well. So that's me. We're supported by an expert chief seaweed scientist with expertise in the reef, as well as with macroalgae or seaweed, as we call it. That's Dr. Guillermo Diaz-Pulido, who's an adjunct research professor in the Centre of Excellence for Coral Reef Studies. We're also ably supported by our CQU research team up in Gladstone, led by Professor Emma Jackson, at the CMERC facility in the port of Gladstone itself. So what are we trying to do? Well, nitrogen runoff is a major threat to the Great Barrier Reef. In fact, it's the one of the top 3 threats to the Great Barrier Reef, and water quality deterioration is a real and urgent issue. Current solutions are not achieving their targets, and innovation is needed and fast. We also combine that with the discovery of a unique Queensland seaweed that can reduce nitrogen, but also reduce livestock emissions by over 80% when sprinkled in animal feed. And this work has been proven, this solution has been proven by the CSIRO and is now spun out into a licensed company called Future Feed, who are licensing the global distribution of that product. So what is our solution? Well, we combine those factors to intercept runoff from farms and industry and urban areas as it enters coastal waterways. We use the seaweed to, as it naturally grows, it absorbs nitrogen, carbon, phosphorus. And we then harvest that seaweed and use it as a viable product for the animal feed, methane-reducing animal feed, as well as generating environmental credits, so reef credits for nitrogen removal. And this helps to protect the Great Barrier Reef because it improves water quality. So we have the potential here for a very large scale, uniquely Queensland solution. We can remove 3,000 tonnes of nitrogen a year with about 150 square kilometres of seaweed biofilters. And we're now moving into the phase of looking at exactly where these need to go to optimise their environmental service. It can also buffer ocean acidification and create 2,500 new jobs in regional areas. The big ticket item is removal of 4 million tonnes of CO2 equivalent per year, and that's from reducing methane emissions from livestock. Huge returns are possible because of the scale of this opportunity. So we're projecting that it will be a $3 billion business in 10 years based on the scale up that we've got planned. And that includes environmental revenues and product revenues. We have a staged, achievable plan for impact. As you can imagine, this isn't a product, it's not a widget, it's not a one and done. We have a long road to go to do the science and the environmental management that's required to achieve the environmental benefits as well as the returns on investment. We're in the proof of concept phase and we've just finished the design phase. Both of those are partially funded by the Great Barrier Reef Foundation's Reef Trust partnership with the Australian government. And we're now looking for further funding to help finalise and build on the proof of concept. So we're currently raising about $2 million to expand our STEM team up in Gladstone, to complete a proof of concept around a pilot and start planning for an actual pilot scale module, which we would love to happen next year. So they're my contact details. Please do reach out. We are talking with the Queensland government as well as the federal government about how to take this solution forward, and we'd love to have you on the journey. Thank you.
We are Clean and Recover, and we have developed a new way of treating acidic water with a particular focus at this time on treating acidic water through mine sites. So is that a big deal? Well, yes, it is. Generally, acidic water can be created by mining, anything that disturbs the soil, factories, agriculture, construction, also industrial processes as well. There's some pictures here showing acidic water in natural environments. It's very metal rich, which is what gives it this yellow and orange color. And it's particularly lethal to any waterways that it gets into. It's a widespread problem around the world. It occurs whenever you've got sulfates in the soil that you're digging in. And that sort of represents perhaps half of all mines. The UN has actually rated it the second biggest problem in the world after climate change, environmentally. And annually, you're getting billions of megalitres of this stuff getting released, all held in tailings dams with some risk of it overtopping. How big is the market? You know, this slide essentially says it's probably around 100 billion US size. And it's actually going to increase as you're going to have to dig in lower grade mines, and therefore you're going to have to dig more soil for a lower percentage of metal return. And water is going to only become more valuable over time. So what do people do at the moment? Well, normally they look at this as an asset and problem, and therefore that they need to neutralize it with a alkaline. And the one that they typically use is lime. Now, the problem with that is to make lime, you have to roast limestone. And here's the formula for doing that. CaCO3, limestone, plus heat equals CaO plus all this nasty CO2. So there is a huge amount of CO2 going into the atmosphere. And you can draw a mathematical equation which says along the lines, what's the amount of acidity that we need to treat, therefore how much lime do we need? We can actually calculate CO2 emissions. And to give you a sense of that, a single mine, you might produce 50,000 tonnes of CO2 from your associated lime production and treat. But it can get a lot bigger. Some of the raffinates from big minerals processing operations might produce 1.3 million tonnes. These are for single sites. And obviously there's thousands of mines around the world that will need these sorts of processes. So what's our solution? In a nutshell, we use electrodialysis. We use a process that drives the sulfate, which is causing the acidity, across a membrane, and it then concentrates and is removed from the acid mine drainage. That then causes the pH of the water to rise. And when that rises, any of the metals that are in the soil, in the drainage, which gave it those unique colors that we saw before, they precipitate out. So you're getting a lot of byproducts from the process. You're getting sulfuric acid, you're getting those metals, you're getting much more clean water than you would using a lime-based process. You're not adding chemicals, you're not using resources such as lime, you're not using resources such as input water. You're also getting a bit of hydrogen because it's a process akin to electrolysis. You're getting some hydrogen and oxygen out of the processes as well. So there's a lot of byproducts. You're turning a waste product, drainage, acid mine drainage, into potentially a revenue source. And you're creating a circular economy around all of those products. You're also reducing the need for future mining because you're harvesting far more resources out of what you've already got. So is this something people want? Well, we've done trials with a whole bunch of miners, most recently with a major miner. We've also just signed an agreement with a European miner to test their acid mine drainage and to give them a report on, well, what would it cost to treat their acid mine drainage at their site. We've won a number of worldwide competitions, each of the technology. They've been in the space of, well, what waste to value options do you have? What options do you have to harvest metals out of acid solutions? And we're in ongoing discussions with a number of miners. Here's our team, me, the CEO. I'm doing all the sales and marketing processes and the management processes. Dr. Samir Kher, he's doing the product development. In the background there, you can see our pilot plant based here in Brisbane, and Kainu is the electrical engineer responsible for doing the electrical automation systems. Partner are we looking for? Well, we are in discussions, but we're really looking for a miner who has acid mine drainage problems. And we would basically reach out to them for samples to test their acid mine drainage or for support to complete engineering for a full-scale plant. In exchange for that, we would give them comprehensive advice around their options for dealing with the acid mine drainage, how to reduce the treatment costs, how to reduce the rehabilitation costs for their mine site so they can hand it back in due course. Noting that, watery dams on sites are probably the hardest part of a mine to rehabilitate. And we can advise on the potential to capture metals and other byproducts out of the AMD, acid mine drainage, that could, offset those treatment costs and hopefully even actually bring in some sort of revenues. Here are my contact details. Really happy to reach out to anyone who's got an interest in the technology, either as a potential user, as a METS company, that's a company that supplies the mining industry, or somebody who could see this process working in an adjacent industry, treating acidic water from industrial operations, or from mills, processing operations, those sorts of things. So thanks very much for your time today. And thanks also to the Low Carbon Accelerator. It's been fantastic the way that really helped us over the last little while, and hopefully will continue to help through a proof of concept next year.
Hi, I'm Michael, MD and founder of GreenTech Cement. We'll start with our three marketing pillars, strength, speed, and sustainability. And like SNAPI, we've used a powerful quote from the Secretary General of the United Nations. This was quoted following the deadly floods in Pakistan last year. So what's the problem? The International Energy Agency has obviously highlighted that cement is the third largest industrial energy user. And we're all aware that it accounts for approximately 8% of all global greenhouse gas emissions, the actual production of cement. Now, by the time the cement's produced, the carbon is being liberated into the atmosphere. We can't change that. No one in that cement sector can. And I would say, unfortunately, but we need to collectively do something in this industry, because cement production is also forecast to increase by almost 40% by 2050. So, basic technology introduction. GreenTech Cement designs and manufactures cement alternatives, finished products, and additives to try and remove or reduce cement content. And we benchmark our technology against cement and cement content, i.e. every individual design. So our first pillar, strength. Using any of our GreenTech Cement technologies, within 4 hours, products develop significant strength gain. If you compare against ordinary Portland cement, which is the lightly drab grey colour on the right-hand side, at 4 hours, there's still no strength gain. And at 1 month, generally speaking, head-to-head, it fails to reach 50% of overall strength versus a GreenTech Cement product type. So look at our second pillar, speed. Our technologies products set, go hard, extremely fast. And in fact, we need to slow our technologies down in the design stage. In some sectors, our speed is highly advantageous. So we work with our clients and understand their needs, because our system is tunable and adjustable. We can have concretes being sprayed and setting within 10 minutes. So the advantages in other occasions, they need increased working time. So we slow the system down. Look at our important pillar number 3, sustainability. So as we benchmark against cement, using any GreenTech Cement product type, reduction of between 20 to 85% carbon dioxide can be achieved. This is actually achieved through a removal. So removal of CO2 embedded in the cement, embedded in a mixed design. So whilst we can achieve large carbon reduction, all the while the end user can benefit from the performance improvements offered by pillar number 1, strength, pillar number 2, speed. We like to compare ourselves or pit ourselves against a well-known and a well-backed carbon reduction system. We see by utilising GreenTech Cement, we can then remove vast quantities of CO2 from concrete designs. The comparison technology, technology is actually a sequestration method where they actually embed carbon dioxide into a concrete mix design. I'm not quite sure about the long-term benefits of this. GreenTech removes the cement from the mix design completely. And these figures are quoted on a standard unit, which is a cubic metre of concrete. GreenTech Cement can remove between 120 and 160 kilograms or greater of carbon dioxide per cubic metre, compared to 15 to 25 kilograms. It's just another visual of the scale of the carbon reduction available by using any GreenTech Cement binder types or additive types. We see that the outliers out here are at CAC cements, and ordinary Portland cement again is grey and drab, ugly. Our technologies are within that sphere, within our circle sphere, and all the way into our green binder system, removes over 85% reduction of CO2 compared to ordinary Portland cement. All these systems or within the the visual here, we're all high performing systems. How do we do it? Without getting too technical, this is the current market approach. On the left-hand side, a typical market approach is to remove a certain content of cement from their mix design and add in other byproducts with cementitious properties such as fly ash or slag. They do remove carbon from the actual mix design, but the performance is what you see is what you get. Performance is still standard. On the right-hand side, of course, GreenTech, we still use ordinary Portland cement within our design, but we remove a certain portion. We add in high-performance carbon-reduced additives, and we can achieve anywhere up to 85% carbon reduction. And an important factor is, of course, the high-performance later down below. So where we're at since we last met or pitched, our CO2 reduction projects, some are still ongoing. And these are long-term research projects, typically between 3 months, anywhere out to 18 months or greater. So we've got a potential project with Rio Tinto in New South Wales, researching a product type to plug underground aquifers in Western Australian iron ore assets. University of South Australia is undertaking some testing on our K20 additives, high performance reduced carbon culverts for the council. And in Q1 next year, we're working towards a collaboration with Swinburne University and one of our industry clients as preferred tech partner for 3D printed housing. And obviously sustain designs at top of the list. Looking at green slabs for housing, rapid construction, and steel removal at the same time, replaced with non-steel products for reinforcement. The University of Southern Queensland, we tried to embed one of our engineers as potential PhD candidates, geopolymer zero cement concrete. Obviously, that will certainly be a sponsored project by the company and put us at the forefront of advancements in the geopolymer system. Also, a utility sector, looking at low carbon dioxide concrete panels using our green binder and making green binder panels. This is potentially our proof of concept project. Also, developments in the last 3 months. Things are moving quite steadily for us. Let's look at the opportunities for GreenTech in the great state of Queensland. So the company is beginning to be recognised for our smarts by the greater market, primarily how to utilise waste and other natural cement replacements, whilst also trying to maintain a certain level of performance. So these are some exciting projects for us. A collaborative research project in a low value conversion of waste from the food sector into carbon dioxide reduction in concretes. Also, another ASX company has approached us to be chosen tech partner for a Western Australian-based commodity. A collaborative research centre in Western Australia, looking at evaluating waste from lithium processing plants, plus many other natural cement replacements, typically described as SCMs or supplementary cementitious materials. We're about to have some discussions regarding an ARC research program. That's a Queensland program. We'll utilise Queensland universities. It's a $29 million fund looking into low carbon technologies. And finally, an ACART research program. So we've been approached by a tier 1 miner to look to improve sustainability in the mining sector. It's a program where the mining companies are forced to put money in for improvements, typically for safety and OH&S, but also improvements in the sector now, really pushing towards sustainability improvements. We, unlike probably some of the other cohort, trying to put a grant in for Made in Queensland, and we're currently raising a small amount of funds to purchase bespoke plant and equipment early in the new year to improve that capacity, but also actually make our manufacturing more sustainable as well.
Hi, we are Uuvipak, and we are on a mission to replace 2 billion pieces of plastics with Uuvipak by 2030. I'm Dr. Shifali Gupta with 10 years of research experience as a scientist. And Andy, my co-founder, is a designer, developer, and have a successful startup experience. Together, we have a passionate team of scientists, engineers, and business advisors working really, really hard to bring Uuvipak to life. Uuvipak is world's first patent pending material designed to replace single-time use plastics by upcycling clean organic food waste. Uuvipak products are not only 100% biodegradable or home compostable, they are edible. Yes, you heard that right. Since we only use natural ingredients, you can actually eat our products. And since they are safe for us to eat, they are perfectly safe for the animals and plants that come in contact with. Which means Uuvipak biodegrades naturally within 3 to 4 weeks once it comes in contact with nature. So how does it work? Uuvipak is made from underutilized clean food byproducts, like the one generated from processing grains or making juice, which then turn into Uuvipak materials, which then become Uuvipak products. Once used, our products naturally compost and become healthy soil, which brings circular economy into the picture. The beauty of Uuvipak's raw material is it can be molded into any shape or size. Just imagine the possibilities out there. Uuvipak products are not just zero waste, zero landfill, zero plastic, zero pollution, but we also offset carbon by upcycling clean organic food waste and also by replacing plastic. And just by capturing 20% of Australian market with Uuvipak cups, we offset 30,000 tons of plastic each year. The global bioplastic market is expected to grow to $324 billion by 2030. With such huge opportunity and also with the government regulations changing, we believe that this is the right time for us to enter into the market. And in just 12 months, we have received tons and tons of customer traction. We conducted trials across different locations in Australia, collected customer feedback, and further improved our products. Since Uuvipak, we have been all over the media, TV channels, podcasts. We were part of UK Accelerator program and are currently a part of UK Surf program, through which we are collaborating with UK food scientists. We've been a part of Giants program powered by Blackbird. And of course, we are a part of Queensland government program, which is Low Carbon Accelerator, which is more focused on low carbon solutions. And now we are bringing up collaboration with Cyro to collaborate with Cyro food scientists so we can diversify our applications. Last but not the least, we were the winners for Nespresso Startup Challenge, and we received $50,000 in prize, which is great. And so how do we get there? We will impact the food industry first with our takeaway solution and trial packaging in many industries. Then we'll create key partnership with companies that use packaging and then become default solution for anyone that needs packaging across multiple sectors. So please join us on our mission to eradicate plastic pollution from our daily lives. Thank you.
Essentially, what we're trying to do at the moment is produce trichoderma species that not only forms relationships with plants, but replaces conventional nitrogen-based fertilizers. So this is actually a huge kind of area of expertise that our team actually has. So most of us are from UQ. We have an associate professor. I myself come from Cyro. I used to be a Cyro researcher at Data 61. And we also have some experts from agriculture and also retail space. So ideally, we have a pelletized system that's fantastic. Once it's applied to the root systems, it basically grows out in a very stringent kind of mentality, similar to the right-hand picture. So all that electron scanning microscope photo of the trichoderma growing outwards. And it doesn't have any hazardous materials or leave any trace kind of minerals or anything in the soil. So it's fantastic. It's totally circular economy. And obviously it's a really important factor. So how do we get here? Well, we actually started out looking at Oxley Commons and which actual plants were performing the best. And most of the plants that were performing best actually had a species of trichoderma with them. So it was taken from the root samples, the rhizophyre, and trichodermas were absolutely fantastic for actually going and boosting their productivity, making them more successful in those regards. So we took those trichodermas, grew them up on agar, and then started inoculating plants with them, doing trial tests for them. So how have we made our progress so far? Since actually joining the Accelerator, we've also put out videos, we've gotten marketing materials, and we've also gone to commercialization and done a fair bit of marketing research thanks to the Accelerator. So obviously we found out that our market audience wasn't actually our market audience, and our market audience is older females in 65 years old. And they're the ones who are doing the most purchasing of trichodermas. So it's very interesting that men are not so interested in taking care of the plants, but that just happens to be how the research has worked out with it. So we went on to exactly our kind of milestones. And obviously within the first year, we want to gain authority in this area. We also want to secure more bulk retail constructs and contracts. And we also want to expand internationally because in Vietnam, China, and Malaysia, it's very interested in our products. And we find that we're exporting a few every couple of weeks to those countries. So maybe it would be best to focus on that in the next year. We would also like to have a milestone past $1 million in revenue, and then afterwards start our planned experimentation so we can actually fulfill those kind of orders. Ideally, we also need to form a little bit more commercial kind of products and a commercial pilot. So the next step for us is a commercial pilot, and we'll be kind of more dealing with a whole bunch of different companies and retailers, as well as big companies. So this includes our partnerships. Currently, we've actually got a contract with 1 to 10 to purchase trichoderma as well as shoulder and IGA. And we're in talks with Brisbane City Council at the moment for partnerships further in terms of the sustainable farming kind of area. So the sustainable solutions, that's where we're looking to Brisbane City Council at the moment. And it seems quite promising. We also talked to Mo and Olga and Sustainable Farming Solutions, and they're forming well. But as anybody knows, these kind of agricultural industries really move very slow. So it's not necessarily always promising. Seeing as we now have smaller franchisees, it's always a good sign for moving forwards. So ideally, we would also like to be doing farm tests and commercial farm tests because we find that would be best for everybody involved to actually replace the fertilizers used with our fertilizer, which is biogenic and it's not harmful for the environment, and waste products break down without any issues with trace elements being left into the soils. It builds up the soils, and that's more important because soil depletion is one of the biggest issues that we're currently facing in agriculture. So what is our future goals as well? Because this can't be the other thing. So we're actually in our testing phase at the moment. We've just entered building up on huge colonies of small hive beetle, and we're basically going to solve that issue of small hive beetle through entopathogenic fungi similar to the trichoderma. So it's very interesting because as these kind of entopathogenic fungi fit into our pipeline perfectly, and it allows us to actually get further on and you have to, I guess, make a better product for beekeepers as well, because most of it's really toxic material that they have to use to treat this small hive beetle problem. And obviously, everybody knows that bees are a keystone species of agriculture, so it's really important to safeguard their survival. So thank you very much.
We are CTech, and we reduce energy consumption and carbon emissions from your air conditioning systems. Well, we have a technical issue. Here we go. Australia is heating up, and it's an absolute problem that it is heating up, and we have to know why. And just the other day, on the 23rd of November, CSIRO and ABM told us we are heating up, and it's quite relevant. The big issue is coming from greenhouse gases. And this is something that's developed from our electricity demand approaching our national grid capacity. So greenhouse emitting power stations are a major issue. So how can we fix it quickly and efficiently? The screen on your right is showing how our demand is starting to catch up with our capacity. But interestingly, there hasn't been a change in our record since 2012. Maybe they don't want to show us how quickly the demand is really overtaking what we can produce. So our national energy grid is really the veins of our electricity supply. It just, like the human body, it reaches right through and keeps the whole place pumping. So what's the issue? Air conditioning systems are a huge strain on the national grid, especially in peak periods. And since 2005, there's been over 800,000 to 1.2 million systems installed of what they call the new inverter system that was supposed to take all this load off the grid. But with that many, it's come back. There's been no attempt to address this by any part of the industry whatsoever. They're telling us they are efficient, they are low energy, and we're stuck with what we've got. But we've got a very small Queensland product called CTech. It can help mitigate it. So we're looking at 18 million air conditioners out there in Australia alone, 54,000 megawatts effect on the national grid. And that's just looking at 60% of them in use at any one time. And air conditioning contributes 17,280 megawatts towards this, 32%. So imagine what reducing this by 25% will do. It will unblock the veins of our grid. It's like, as I said, like the human body. They're getting blocked and eventually you fall over. So we've got our CTech advanced compressor technology. It reduces energy consumption, improves system efficiency of air conditioning systems. They said it couldn't be done. It can. And on the latest inverter air conditioning system. So how does it do it? It monitors, it learns. It makes adjustments and enhances the compressor operation. Matching capacity and operation with the usage patterns allows us to reduce energy. It's adaptive learning, continually improving the performance. So that's really great. But what's really great and what we love is it's designed, developed and manufactured here in Queensland by our company Optimal Air Conditioning Solutions. How can I install it? You've got to be an electrician to be able to install it. You're playing with live wires when you're putting this in. That's no big deal for a qualified person. Electrical contractors, air conditioning installers, solar batteries installers. This product is synonymous with all these different industries. And by just this tiny product, All of these other companies in different industries have a new advance on what they can do and grow their business. We've got 20 years experience in this industry, and this experience has shown us how to really make the savings and what they do. Yeah. We're looking here at 3 days without the CTech system operating and 3 days with it. Just looking at it, you say there's been an absolute reduction, especially, yes, CTech was operating on the right-hand side. To prove it, you have to meter it. It has to be a quality power metering system. And the metering alone showed savings of 31%. But when you normalize that relative to what we call cooling degree days, it's an actual saving of 27.7%. That's an enormous reduction on any system and the grid. It's a small unit. It fits anywhere inside an air conditioning system. So where do we start? Wow, a lovely grey box. Pretty dull, typical engineering. We didn't have an identity before the program. We didn't have an itinerary or a map. We didn't have a steering wheel. We were just a cool idea. So where are we now? So thanks to Phil and his team with the program, we've found an identity. We've set up an interactive website, www.ctech.com.au. We've developed marketing strategy, created supporting collateral. The big thing here is we've been able to get our business structure in line legally and financially. Huge step to move forward. We've provided invaluable training through the program, something we would never have had if we hadn't been fortunate enough to go on the course with them. We've also obtained commitment from an industry partner to partly fund the POC should we be successful. So we've gone from that to that. We've been able to reduce the size of the system. We've got packaging, we've got websites, we've got brochures to tell people how good we are. So what's the next step? We'll conduct more extensive field validation because without this, we really can't go anywhere. People want to see this really works in different climates, different buildings. We'll conduct independent laboratory validation. Some people say, nice that it works on that house, but for whatever reason, if it comes out of a laboratory, they say, oh, wow, that must work. So you've got to go down that path. Scale commercial production capacity, reducing the greenhouse gases and ensuring business viability. No use starting it if the business isn't viable. Finalise our distributor network when we're already talking to electrical contractors, air conditioning contractors, and solar and battery contractors. They're really excited because this is something that's going to help them all, help their businesses. And we'll launch the CTech product as a proud Queensland family-owned business. We will save energy and reduce carbon emissions on a large scale. And the POC will enable us to deliver this dream for our better future. Thank you very much.
I'm Jason Sharrow from Linked Group Services, Managing Director. Link's been established since 2010. We're a group of companies or a group of businesses within the one company. We are a manufacturing company. We actually currently manufacture off-grid in Mackay. We're an energy company, so we do a lot of solar projects and have done over that period. We're a mining company and we're also a construction company. What product we're looking at pitching today for the low carbon accelerator, and also to help us reduce our emissions for clean transport, is our rapid deployment electric vehicle fast charging station. So it's a combination of a few of the products that we've been producing over the last few years. It's a bit of a hybrid between our solar carport product that we've installed numerous projects throughout Australia, and also it's Canberra Zoo that you're looking at there, Cowboys Football Club, just to give you some ideas product. and our EcoGen, which is our mobile solar-powered generator. It's a portable product, and the idea with the EV charging station is to combine a much larger solar array, so we're producing clean energy, storing that clean energy in a battery, and then dispatching it to the vehicles as is required, and helping to offset any infrastructure grid constraints that we might have with regards to being able to deliver the amount of energy that we need to deliver to vehicles in a hurry. Everybody wants to be able to fast charge. So some fun facts about electric vehicles in Australia. Currently, there are over 20 million vehicles registered in Australia. Only 34,000 of those vehicles at this point in time are actual electric vehicles. Currently in Australia, there's about 3,000 public charging stations. And the uptake on electric vehicles at the moment is doubling every year and expected to continue quite rapidly. So from those numbers, you're going to see that we're going to need to deploy a lot more charging stations very quickly. And the reality is that Australia is a really large country, and we already have grid constraints in more remote areas and regional locations, such as where we are up in Mackay. Currently in Mackay, to give you an idea, there's only 3 public charging stations. If you ever want to have a look at that information, jump on PlugShare. It's a open source software platform that everybody can look on and find out where the local or nearest EV charging station is to you. So the idea behind our product is, because we're going to have this great uptake, or we're already starting to see this great uptake. In fact, we can't get the vehicles quick enough. We need to be able to deploy something really quickly to be able to put that charging infrastructure in to prevent range anxiety, and also now charger anxiety, which has become quite a prevalent problem for people to be able to actually pull up somewhere and not already have somebody else plugged into that charger and have to wait for so long. So what we've just developed is our EcoGen EV charging station. It's quite a large platform, which has got a concrete base, batteries and inverters on board, and a solar array. The idea is that we're collecting the solar energy, being clean energy, storing that in the batteries and dispatching that to the vehicles. We also have a grid connection as a backup source to ensure that, we're still trying to deliver the required energy to the vehicle once it pulls up. We've got that reliability. It's pretty key. This is to give you a bit of an idea of what the product looks like in the various stages of unfolding. So being a rapid deployment, the idea behind the product is that you can actually transport it to site on a 40-foot truck. Standard container footing. Basically, it can be lifted off that truck with a side loader into position, and it can either be connected to the grid at that stage, or it can actually also be standalone if it's required. The way that we can do that at the current moment in time is with a backup diesel generator, but we've also been exploring in the last couple of weeks since we started the Accelerator, some hydrogen fuel cell options as well. And we're talking with a couple of partners about what those options might look like. So the reality of this is, if we can go off grid, we can just stick one of these EV charging stations absolutely anywhere in Australia and give the opportunity for vehicles to stop, refill and go again. It's just a little video at the end here also to show you how it sort of unfolds. Now, once it's lifted off in location, we use a small crane or franner or telehandler just to lift those wings up, bolt them into position, and then that infrastructure is there gathering energy, creating shade, and basically producing enough energy to charge even the largest of cars that are on the market at the moment, which is the Tesla with a 100 kilowatt hour battery. So that's pretty much what we're intending to do. We've been talking with a couple of energy retailers already. So Eureka has shown a lot of interest, and we've got a proof of concept site we think we may have an opportunity to work with them on. We're working through all of the financial side of that at the moment, and contractual. And also they may actually be interested in trying to, take some ownership over the product and deliver it as their own product. But that remains to be seen, because we do have other industry partners as well that have been very interested in talking to us as well, including Energy Australia. So they're the retail side of the opportunity for us. We've also had conversations with EV charging network infrastructure asset owners, such as JetCharge, have spoken to us as well. And we've had a bit of interest through EV networks as well. So it's quite a large market, and I think it's got a lot of growth, and the inquiry just seems to be coming thick and strong at the moment, which is great. And it's great that we're part of this low carbon accelerator.
Good afternoon. So Arteh stands and provides assessments through research and technology to serve the environment and humanity. And we are a profit for purpose enterprise. Please. To ensure lives on planet Earth as we know it, we must halt carbon emissions by 2030 and reach net zero by mid-century. We all know. But what's the problem? Please. Corporations are being pressured to disclose their climate-related risks and opportunities by financial regulators and investors. The thing is that only a few top performers across all sectors are being able to disclose this data. Most companies are unsure which data to track, lack resources for climate reporting, and at the same time, they need access, data, and insights in a cost and time efficient way. Please. Arteh's solution addresses those challenges through a three-part value proposition. Our platform facilitates data collection, calculates greenhouse gas emissions, and sets up companies' science-based targets. And besides that, our platform also provides automated reports that enable companies to get global recognition, such as from the Science Based Target Initiative, B Corp, and Climate Active. I am Dr. Nathalie Hurtado. I have 10 years of experience working in the Brazilian financial regulatory sector. 3 of these 10 years, I worked in many committees of the Bank for International Settlements, which gave me a clear understanding of the regulatory perspective. My role at RSCQ as an environmental impact specialist also gives me a very clear understanding of the user perspective. I have 2 co-founders, Dr. Safira Recker, who is a UQ researcher and senior lecturer on sustainable finance, member of the Science Based Target Initiative Oil and Gas Committee, and she's publishing many papers about these science-based targets methodologies on peer reviews like Nature Communications. We also have Hugo, who is our data scientist, specialized in big data and artificial intelligence. We have an advisory board composed by Jackie, our strategy advisor, Kim, our legal and industry advisor, and Shoko, our finance and industry advisor. Yes. The timing for companies to adopt such a solution is just right now, because they are being and will be even more pressured by investors' requirements, consumers' demands, and net zero regulations that will come soon. All of these may impact companies' brand and reputation if no action is taken now. Please. Over the past 3 years, Arteh came from ideation in 2019, when we were runner-up in the Global Business Challenge, passing through the Climate Kick Launchpad Bootcamp in 2020, to become an incorporated business in 2021, just after participating in the UQ Ventures Accelerator program. In 2021, we've signed agreements with the University of Queensland, EQ Resources, and Multicom Resources to develop our minimum viable product and to run our first pilots. Arteh received 2 awards in 2021 from Innovation Latam as an impact startup on SDGs 9, 11, and 13. And in 2022, from the Core Innovation Hub as one of the 30 hottest Australian startups in the mining sector. In 2022, we also finalized the pilot with the first 3 users, ensuring 2 of them
just subscribe to our platform. And of course, we are part of the 10 climate tech startups selected for the Low Carbon Accelerator program. Currently, we are discussing and looking for partnerships with consultant firms that can leverage our distribution to their own customers. We believe that in this way, we will be able to reach out to more businesses to work with us and continue building a tailored market fit solution for many different sectors. Our beachhead market is the Australian listed small and medium-sized mining companies. We expect that this strategy will put Arteh on the pathway to accelerate our commercialization phase and will prompt us to scale up in Australia and out there. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Blue.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Congrats, everyone. Bye-bye.